All right, so you want to be a stone engraver, huh? Pretty cool gig, right?
Yeah,
And you've got RoleCatcher's guides, which is awesome.
definitely a good starting
I
point.
was looking through them myself, and yeah, they've got some good stuff in there.
Yeah, super helpful, breaking down the job, giving you a plan to show off your skills. What stood out to you?
But first off, the variety of work. It's not just one thing, you know.
Right.
You've got monuments, sculptures, even those little details you see on buildings.
Hmm,
Art meets craft, and it lasts.
exactly. And that's something you'll want to hit on in the interview. It's not just carving, it's making something that means something and lasts.
Speaking of lasting impressions, let's talk interview questions. They can be tough, but with some good prep, you can really turn them into chances to show off what you've got.
Absolutely. Let's start with a common one. What inspired you to become a stone engraver? Seems simple, but it's a chance to go deeper than just a quick answer.
Right. The interview guide talks about getting to those real motivations. What was it for you? Love of art? History buff? Family connection, maybe?
Think about what really got you into this and say it with some passion. If you're excited about it, they'll see it. And don't be surprised if they follow up with something like, what about the challenges? Doesn't it get tedious sometimes?
Ooh, good one. Chance to show you can handle stuff and solve problems.
Exactly. Talk about how you see challenges as learning experiences. Maybe you had a tough stone to work with or had to tweak a design to fit a weird space.
Next up, what technical skills are essential for a successful stone engraver? Time to show off your knowledge.
Don't just list them off. Talk about how good you are with the different techniques.
Yep.
Carving, chiseling, polishing, lettering. Show them you get the little details of the work.
And don't forget about different types of stone. The career guide has a whole section on that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Be ready to talk about granite, marble, limestone, the whole shebang.
How do you ensure accuracy and detail in your engravings? Attention to detail is huge, right?
Absolutely. This is where you show how careful you are. Talk about measuring, marking, using tools like calipers and rulers. Maybe even tell them about a time you had to make a last-minute change to get it perfect.
What about mistakes? Everyone makes them, but it's what you do after that matters. What if they say, have you ever messed up big time while engraving? How'd you fix it?
Honesty is key, but spin it positive. Describe a specific time, what you did to fix it, and most importantly, what you learned from it.
Okay, let's get creative. How do you choose the design for a project?
This is your chance to show your creative side and design sense. Walk them through your process. Research, brainstorming, working with clients. Highlight how you balance your artistic ideas with what the client wants.
I bet they'll ask something like, have you ever had to tell a client their design wouldn't work on stone? That could be awkward.
It's all about being diplomatic and teaching the client. Explain how you gently steer them toward a better design, thinking about the stone's limits and what the project's supposed to be.
All right, one that's often missed. How do you make sure everyone's safe while working on a project?
This shows you're all about a safe work environment. Don't just list safety gear. Talk about knowing the rules, securing the stone, using tools right, keeping your workspace clean.
What if they ask, what would you do if you saw a coworker not following safety rules?
That's about leadership. Say you'd calmly talk to them, remind them of the rules, and stress how important everyone's safety is.
Okay, we've covered some good ones. Now, before we move on, don't forget about RoleCatcher's secret sauce. Their AI stuff.
Right, RoleCatcher can break down job descriptions, find those key skills, and even suggest ways to improve your CV or resume.
And their Copilot AI is like having a personal coach for interviews. It gives you feedback on your answers and lets you practice with video so you can see how you come across.
Those tools can really give you an edge and make you feel more confident going into that interview.
Speaking of confidence, let's dive into the next round of questions. These are all about showing you can solve problems and that you really love this craft. Ready?
All right, so you've got the basics down. Now let's kick it up a notch. Think about a project that really tested you. This next question can trip people up. What challenges have you faced working on a stone engraving project, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, that's the classic, tell me about a time you messed up question. Like, dressed up all fancy.
Hmm.
The interview guide's got some good advice on this one.
They say pick a project where you hit a real snag, maybe a crazy design, a tight deadline, or even a difficult client. Yeah, walk them through the problem, the steps you took, and how you turned it into a win.
And don't be shy about what you learned along the way. It shows you can look back and grow from those experiences. They might even ask, what's the most valuable lesson you learned from a tough project?
Perfect chance to show off your growth mindset. Maybe you learned how important clear communication is, or how valuable planning is, or even how to roll with the punches when things change.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Let's talk teamwork. This next one is all about working with others. How do you collaborate with clients and other people on a stone engraving project?
This is where you show off those people skills. Describe how you get what the client needs, how you really listen to their ideas, and how you work their feedback into the design.
And don't forget about working with other pros, like architects, designers, or even construction crews. Shows you're a team player. They might throw a curveball and ask, have you ever had a conflict with a client or colleague? How'd you handle it?
Being able to handle conflict is a good skill anywhere. Be ready with a story about how you dealt with a disagreement professionally and found a solution everyone could live with.
Back to the stone. What's your experience with different types of stone, and how do you choose the right one for a project? All about showing off that material knowledge.
The career guide breaks down different stone types and what they're like. Be ready to talk about granite marble, limestone, sandstone, the whole deal. Their hardness, color, texture, what kind of engraving they're good for.
And get ready for those follow-up questions, like what are the good and bad things about using marble for this specific project? They want to see you understand the ins and outs of each material.
For sure. Think about stuff like how tough it is, how much it costs, how it looks, and even how eco-friendly it is to get different stones.
All right, time to show you're on top of things. How do you stay up to date with the latest trends and techniques in stone engraving?
Here's where you show you're always learning. Talk about how you stay in the loop, going to conferences and workshops, reading industry stuff, following big-time stone engravers on social media.
It shows you're all about getting better and staying ahead of the game. Speaking of staying ahead, they might ask, what's a new technique or technology in stone engraving that you're excited about?
Do your research. Check out new things like laser engraving, 3D modeling for carving, or even sustainable ways to get stone. Sharing your excitement about new stuff can make you stand out.
Okay, last question in this marathon. This one gets to the heart of your artistic side. How do you balance your artistic expression with what the client needs in a project?
It's all about finding that sweet spot between your creative vision and what the client wants.
The interview guide says to focus on communication and collaboration. Describe how you really listen to the client, understand their vision, and find creative ways to mix in what they want while staying true to your art.
And be ready for the compromise question. Have you ever had to compromise your artistic vision to make a client happy? How did you deal with that?
It's about being professional and finding solutions. Explain how you'd talk it out with the client, look at different options, and ultimately find a way to make everyone happy while respecting your artistic limits.
Handling those tricky situations shows maturity and a client-first attitude, which are good things to have in any creative field. Remember, you're not just a stone engraver. You're a collaborator, a problem solver, and a passionate artist bringing those designs to life.
You've given us so many great tips and strategies. I feel like anyone listening to this is already way ahead in their prep. But before we get too excited, let's not forget our secret weapon, RoleCatcher, and their AI tools.
We've really dug deep into this, haven't we? From figuring out what the job's all about to tackling those tough interview questions. But like they say, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step.
And for a stone engraver, that first step might be picking up a chisel or firing up one of those diamond-tipped engraving tools. Remember that part of the career guide about the different types of stone?
Oh yeah, that's a treasure trove of info. It goes deep into what makes granite, marble, limestone, sandstone, all of them so unique. I'm telling you, knowing that stuff could really impress them in the interview.
Imagine just casually dropping some knowledge about using, say, marble for a certain project or talking about the history of certain stones. It shows you've done your homework and you're really into it.
It's like that final polish on a finished engraving. Makes the whole thing shine. And speaking of shining, remember what the interview guide said about showing your enthusiasm.
Yeah, it's not just about spitting out facts and figures. You got to let that excitement show.
Because they don't just want someone who can carve a straight line. They want someone who's dedicated to the art of it all. Someone who sees it as more than just a job.
And that passion, it's contagious. It changes how you come across, how they see you. So own it. Let them see how fired up you are about turning a plain old rock into something beautiful.
That's what's so cool about RoleCatcher. It's not just about guides and AI. It's about connecting with other people who get it, who share that passion.
Yeah, their network feature is awesome. You can connect with other stone engravers, learn from what they've been through, ask questions, get advice. It's like having a whole bunch of mentors right there.
Don't forget about good old-fashioned networking, too. Go to events, visit stone yards, chat with the pros. You'd be surprised what you can pick up from people who've been there and done that.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, remember, stone engraving is all about dedication and being eager to learn. Embrace that. Let your passion shine through in everything you do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you've got RoleCatcher in your corner. There are guides, there are AI tools, their community. It's all there to help you along the way. So go out there, ace that interview, and make that dream career a reality.
We're rooting for you.